New River Boots in Horween's English Tan Dublin. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dale of Dale's Leatherworks. Welcome back to the Leather Lab. We are going to be talking about a new company known as New River Boot. The man behind the brand, his name is David Mills, and I've gotten the opportunity to get to know him pretty well over the last several months, over the course of which he was building me these boots. A little bit of backstory: I met David at the most recent Stitch Down boot camp in New York City. He is a super cool guy. I got some pictures with him. We exchanged cards and numbers. We've been talking ever since. He is a West Virginia-based one-man bootmaker, similar to Gabbard in a lot of ways. There's a lot of parallels between both these makers, except David is fairly new at the process. I'll get into more of that later on in the video. I'm just blown away by what I'm seeing here. I had two sides of English Tan Dublin on my hands that I was maybe going to make some backpacks out of, maybe going to run kilties in, and I was looking at it and it's just so thick and so beautiful and so filled with amazing lacerations, scars, and flecks and cuts and all that. I've always wanted a pair of boots in English Tan Dublin. I knew the timing was right, I knew the maker was right. I was perusing David's work on his Instagram at New River Boot, and I just knew that this was going to be the one for the ages. So a little bit about the name New River Boot. So it's actually a location in West Virginia. I did not know this, but New River is just as it sounds. It's a national forest reserve area of just beautiful river, beautiful campgrounds, beautiful mountains and forests. It's got all the best of what you would think when you hear about Appalachia. It strikes a special chord in my heart because, as I mentioned in a recent video, I have been binge watching The Appalachian Storyteller. This guy on this channel, he just does an amazing job telling the stories of the Appalachian people. He does it in the authentic West Virginian accent, which just brings me all the more closer to this bootmaker because I grew up near West Virginia. It was about an hour's drive to West Virginia. That said, West Virginia is a fairly large state. I looked up how far of a drive it would be from here in Baltimore to New River. It's about 5 hours, so it's not very close at all. I'll be hoping to make my way out there one of these days. Let's talk about these boots. First off, I just want to go over some of the initial impressions I have. So we've got a beautiful perforated cap toe. All panels are manually hand cut by David. He doesn't have a clicking press. He doesn't have pre-made dies, so he's doing all the work by hand, similar to Gabbard. This English tan Dublin by Horween is just absolutely one of my favorite Horween leathers. It's vegetable tanned, and it puts all of its incredible character on display. So we've got brass eyelets all the way up. This is built on the QIV last. More on that in a moment, but real quick, I just want to say in terms of sizing, I know that this is always the big question when you're going into it with a new maker. The sizing runs consistent with Red Wing, with Truman boots. I'm an 8.5 in most US boot brands. I told David, let's just go for a standard 8.5 D, and the fit, I wouldn't change a thing about it. Seriously, just the half down from Brannock, as in most cases with US makers, is solid advice. They fit similar to a Red Wing Iron Ranger in 8.5. Absolutely. So a little bit more about this last. It's called the QIV. It's a 1940s work shoe last, so it has extra toe room, which for some people is hard to get used to, but as long as your waist and heel are secure, the leather will collapse and mold to your foot. The toe box will also feel hard at first, but with time and moisture, the paste will degrade and it will collapse. What is this paste you're wondering about? The paste is called Hirschkleber paste, and David puts it in the toe area because he finds that it helps them to collapse a little bit more gracefully. It's a starch-based paste that is used on heel counters. He says in most of his unstructured pairs, he puts it directly on the veg lining and it helps slowly collapse as heat and sweat degrade the paste. So about that QIV last, David actually found it on eBay. He says he has between 40 and 50 different lasts that he's bought over the years before deciding on this QIV one being the absolute best. We mulled over different sole options. David has quite a few. If he doesn't have one that you want, he can order one, but he recommended he had some dead stock cork Vibram 700s. They're black and they have a rubbery appearance while still offering the dense support of cork, and so that's what we went with. David also messaged me while making these boots. He said this pair is going to have range marks and barbed wire scars. He says the hide looks like kudu, and he hopes I enjoy the leather that looks this way as much as he does. And of course I do. I absolutely love kudu and love Dublin. I'll also add that he has enough English tan Dublin for another pair, so if you're seeing this video now and you want them, if he hasn't sold them already, then hit him up and he can make you a pair in this very same leather. He says that being that this is a veg tan, it's going to have a pipey break in some places. This leather is great to work with. His only complaint is that the grain creasing is pipey and not as tight as he normally likes it to be, but that's just personal preference. On my natural Dublin Parkhursts, the Allen boots, they also developed a very pipey break on the toe. I like it. I think it's cool. I think that forms quickly, and I like to see some rapid patina, some rapid rewards. Sometimes I get frustrated when I've had a boot for a long time and it's just not showing any signs of wear. So these are showing up signs of wear very quickly. Not to mention this wax pull-up, not to be confused with oily pull-up. These boots have a waxy pull-up to them, and yeah, you can see the pipey break in certain areas. I think it's really cool. In terms of brass, we talked a lot about brass. David loves brass. He uses all brass nails. He even has 10 pounds of dead stock military brass heel nails. There's only one company still making brass heel nails in Japan, and you have to order 50 kilos, so not many companies are using brass heel nails anymore. Maybe Viberg, but he's not sure. And what's interesting about this pair is he says these are stitched down. Being stitched down, they don't have a welt. He says he hand stitches the midsole and outsole, and the length of time it takes him to do one boot is about an hour, sometimes over an hour per boot for the outsoles. So that is some dedication. What else is cool is throughout the building process, he just sent me pictures every step of the way, which I've never had a maker do that for me before. Gabbard at Creosote does that to some degree, but Dave and I were just texting back and forth, and every day he'd work on the boots a little bit more, send me an update picture. It was really cool. He also sent me a picture of all the hand clinched tacks and nails in the insole holding everything together. The nails in the middle of the heel and in the arch area are tacks that hold the shank in place in case the contact cement and EVA glue fails. There are also nails that go down through the insole, midsole, and into the heel. And he did send me some of the components that go into a pair. So he included some tacks, nails, insoles, and shanks. His goal is to improve with each pair and never say that he's good enough or that he's mastered any part of the process. He wants to always find room for improvement. He also tries to implement things that are going to make the boots look better after wear. He thinks that they look their worst when they're brand new. He overbuilds them and hopes that people will wear the living crap out of them. They are pretty and can take a beating. His other goal is to make a basic looking boot or shoe. Nothing fancy, but with the best materials that will last for years, like they used to do back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So I asked David, well, man, how the heck did you learn boot making? He says that he learned all of his skills through books and YouTube. Sometimes when he has a hard time sleeping, he goes into the basement to work on boots. It takes him approximately 40 to 50 hours per pair. It basically took him 3 years to learn how to make boots, but he committed himself to doing it every single day over those 3 years. He finds the work very therapeutic. I'll also add that he did a shoe cast with Ben of Stitchdown and the other David at Old Speed MFG Bootmakers, who I had the pleasure of him hosting me in his workshop. That was a lot of fun. And a little bit more about New River. He says it's tons of national forests and parks. They are blowing the top off a lot of the mountains and backfilling the valleys for coal. Luckily there's no coal in his area though. He's lived in that valley for 40 of his 45 years, and New River is located in southern West Virginia, which is why it's so far away. And so yeah, looking over his work, he has done a lot of derby shoes, a lot of the service boot style boots. He does plain toes, boondockers. I love the rivets that he puts into some pairs. It looks really sharp. He can do any kind of sole basically. And you know, frankly, his boots, they kind of resemble Quan's a little bit in China in terms of the exactness of the work and the very handmade looking feel. He's done like Russian reindeer pebble grain type boots. Yeah, this is totally a maker that you could, if you want, he'll order the leather, but if you have a side of leather like I did and just wanted to have him make a boot out of it, that's totally an option. You could send him leather, you could send him stuff and just talk to him beforehand, and if he agrees, then he's happy to make you something out of any materials of your choosing, you know, within reason. Before I continue with the review, I already see the questions pouring in. Dale, where did you get that tee? That is one incredible t-shirt. Well, this is the Wear Gustin heavyweight t-shirt crew neck. It's 100% cotton, 5.3 ounces. So it's pretty thick, but very amazing the way that it fits. It's very flattering in the way that it complements your physique. I range between a small and an extra small. I got these in an extra small. Absolutely no complaints on the fit. It's not too tight, just perfect. It's made in America. They use Burley 18 singles cotton, very old school. It's extra heavy and dense. You feel the substance of this t-shirt the second you touch it. The hand feel is very different. It starts with a touch of coarseness. You have to earn your comfort just like raw denim. And currently, the collection that has my eye is the heavyweight t-shirt black fade collection. It comes in a 3-pack. And so, yes, hand cut and sewn in California. And if you want to support my work, if you click that Wear Gustin link in the description below and place an order, I will get a teeny tiny commission for full transparency. But I do love these shirts. I have about 10 of them, and I am very upset when I run out. Then I have to resort to lesser tees to get me through the week. It's never a good situation. I plan to eventually just stock my full t-shirt collection with these. I totally stand by them 100%. If you're into good boots, then you owe it to yourself to also have good t-shirts, dang it, and t-shirts that'll make you look and feel like a man. Let's talk about the box. Very simple branding on the box, New River, handmade for hard wear. Then on the inside, David was kind enough to provide me with one of his insoles. It's wet molded and it's got all the nail marks, skive marks. This is all done by hand. Absolutely unreal. This is what one of my insoles looks like after being in the boot. It actually forms to your foot. It starts out as a flat, just like the earth is flat, so too does the insole start out as flat, but then over time it does mold to your foot, and then it becomes curved, unlike the earth. David also threw in an amazing new river key fob. It's in the same Horween English tan Dublin that you see in the boots. We have a pouch, handmade for hardware. The pouch contains 3 sets of shoelaces, 54 inches. There is a round waxed, a black wax, and a flat wax, just like the earth, black pair of laces. He gave me some stickers, so these are going up on the wall behind you, on the boot shrine behind you. And then 2 very nice, it feels like almost like a burlap or a twill type material, boot bags for your boots. And then he gave me all kinds of these heel nails. So we've got hand shoe tacks, dead stock heel nails, clinch nails, a heel stack nail, and an insole heel nail as well. They're all different and each serve different purposes. I had no idea that the nails all serve different purposes. Super amazing. I love every last detail. Before I continue with the review, do you like shell Cordovan? If you're watching this channel, I bet you do. Well, guess what? I'm currently running kilties in marbled garnet shell Cordovan. They're currently on my website, dalesleatherworks.com, but that's old news. I have new news for you right now. My friend Jen at Weavercrafted, I'm actually selling her wallets on my website. All the sale money goes straight to Jen. She's an outstanding artisan, and I just want to support her. She's trying to get her website and her business up and running. It is a side gig, and so I'm doing everything in my power to try to boost her into success. So look at this amazing piece of workmanship here. This is the Amaretto Shell Cordovan wallet version 1. It is a snap enclosure wallet, very simple. We've got 5 of these to get to. This here is the card holder wallet version 2, also in Amaretto Shell Cordovan, and as you can see on the back, it's got these amazing straps. So this is also a snap enclosure, and on the inside you can see Horween USA. It looks like there is some room for cards. That would house a good amount of cards for sure. Next up we have another version 1 card holder wallet. This one is in marbled green shell Cordovan. Absolutely incredible, all one piece. We have more marbled green shell Cordovan here. This is the card holder wallet version 3, and this one's even more simple. There's no hardware. It's just a nice little shell Cordovan pouch. Simple, it'd be perfect for carrying around your Apple iPhone headphones in for sure. And last but not least, another version 3 card holder wallet in Amaretto shell. Absolutely stunning, and this one probably one of my favorite ones because when you open it up, you got the whole Horween stamp right there. I love it. Once again, all proceeds from the sale go straight to Jen. I'm not taking any money out of her pocket. She put in the work, the time, the investment, the design, and I will not steal from a friend. To every purchase of Jen's wallets, they do come with extras, such as a shell Cordovan key fob with Weavercrafted branding on it, a Weavercrafted sticker, a Weavercrafted lapel pin, and some other goodies as well. I'm actually not sure what these are, but these are snap flaps. Absolutely outstanding work by my friend Jen. I'll leave a link in the description below to my website. Shameful plug, and you can shop around. Those 5 wallets are all I have in stock at the moment, but pretty cool because I've never sold wallets on my website. Alright, so let's talk about the look and let's talk about the feel and the fit of these. These are definitely going to be a forever boot in my collection. There's no doubt about it in my mind. I'm never moving these on. Like I said, I've wanted English tan Horween Dublin in a service boot pattern forever. Ever since I saw Division Road running their Vibergs in natural Dublin, it really opened my eyes to wanting a service boot with that same aesthetic. Dave does not disappoint with his QIV last either. His build, very similar to Viberg, very similar back heel stay to Viberg, but this last, I would actually liken it to the Truman 20 last, with a nice bump toe. This isn't a sleek one, but it is also collapsible. So here are my Trumans in natural horse rump on the 20 last, and we've got a pretty similar patterning going on. The broguing on the new river boots is much more pronounced though. The toe structure is very similar, but the new River Boot seems just like it's got just a little bit more of a bump going on. The panels and the patterning are obviously different because these are two different makers, but I would definitely compare this QIV last to say the Viberg 2040 last and or the Truman 20 last. The Viberg 2040 is just a little bit more aggressively bumped in the toe. The new River Boots are a nice in-between between the two. So if you're a fan of that Truman 20 last or the Viberg 2040 last. Enough talking about Viberg without actually having a pair in front of us here. Alright, so these are my Viberg 2040s. Absolutely love these things in brown oiled shinky horsehide. One of my favorite boot leathers in the world. Let's get a little nice side-by-side comparison. So the Vibergs are in a size 8. Once again, new River Boots in a size 8.5. And yeah, similar bump toe there, but the Viberg 2040s are just a little bit more rounded out at the toe, whereas on the new River Boots, not sure if the camera is capturing this, but the new River Boot takes more of a sharp turn, a diagonal sharp turn down right here, whereas the Viberg 2040s are kind of more of a gradual curve. The Trumans are kind of more straight, whereas yes, this curve becomes much more pronounced when you compare them against the Trumans. So subtle pattern differences between the two. I appreciate all of them. On the Vibergs, we've got a finished roll top at the top of the shaft, whereas on the Trumans and on the new River Boots, it's a raw edge. And as you can see on the back heel stay, it's thinner than the Vibergs. The Vibergs back heel stay is a little bit fatter, but overall you see the similar sort of hourglass type configuration on the back heel stay. And so yeah, I absolutely love all three pairs of these boots. These are part of my forever collection right here. What you're seeing here, these service boots. Natural, tan, and dark brown. Boom. The trifecta. If you had these three pairs of boots, I don't think you'd ever need anything else. Don't look too closely behind me, or else you're going to see evidence of my obsession. Once again, for sizing, new River Boot and Truman 8.5, 8.5, identical. New River Boot 8.5, Viberg 8, identical. One half size up from your perfectly fit Viberg. Take your same Truman size, take your same Thursday size, your Red Wing size, and you will not go wrong. As for the welting work, absolutely phenomenal work. Very tight stitching as he did this by hand. I could tell he got a really good, nice, tight pull on that welt as he's coming through there. As evidenced by, I can see that the leather is very, very secure, held in place by the stitches. Outstanding. Much more so when I compare it to the Vibergs, because the Vibergs are machine stitched, not hand lasted. So I could just tell that there's a little bit more precision and a little bit more pressure applied to the stitching when you do it by hand. So it's going to be a lot more waterproof, a lot more, as my friend Nick at Strideeyes would say, durable, which means durable in English. And then, yeah, this beautiful dead stock cork outsole is so comfortable to walk on. It's similar to the Neo cork that Alden uses, but it does have some tread on there, which means I'll be able to take this boot anywhere. The tongue is not gusseted on the inside. We've got an amazing vegetable tanned insole with the New River branding on it. Also on the inner collar, we've got a New River branding, as well as it shows the QIV and the size 8.5. On the right boot, it's different. It says handmade for hardware on the inner collar, along with a stamp, David's home state of West Virginia. So he is proud of being a West Virginian, and you know what, dang it, he makes me proud to be an American. Seriously, I love this. I love that he's so passionate about what he does. He's self-taught. When you look at something like this level of workmanship from somebody who's self-taught, it's absolutely incredible. His prices are going to be in the $800 range. Are you getting a Viberg quality boot or a Truman quality boot? Yes, absolutely. In fact, it's going to be different altogether because it is 100% handmade, hand-cut, hand-welted. He's doing it caveman style. What Dave is going for is just a classic, timeless, handmade, hand-welted masterpiece. It's going to serve you your entire life. What I really like about it is being into the Appalachian heritage now myself. I just love that I own a piece of footwear from the Appalachians, from a real Appalachian Sorry I keep pronouncing Appalachia different every time I say it. But I love that I own a pair of boots from a true Appalachian bootmaker trying to preserve the heritage of American bootmaking. Dave, you have all my respect, sir. I salute you from one American to another. And the good news is there's going to be no tariffs on these boots because they're made in America. So bypass the tariffs, support the American economy, support small makers like Dave at New River Boots. With that, I'll shut it down. I want to hear all your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Have you met Dave? Have you seen his account on Instagram? It is increasing in popularity. My advice is always, before Dave gets to Gabbard's level at Creosote, in which you can expect a 4-year wait time to pay $2.5 grand for that pair of boots, hit Dave while he's new and fresh and while he has vacancies. At this current time, you could probably expect a pair of boots 3 to 4 months after placing the order with New River Boot, but the more you hold off, that wait time is just going to keep growing. Okay, so it's always best to hit the new maker when they're fresh, when they're new. So if you're interested in something and if you want to send them a hide, say of Horween, you can shop around on OA Leather Supply or Maverick Leather, find a hide you want a boot made out of. You could be part of the process of making your boots by sending Dave a side of leather that you'd like him to make some boots out of. That to me is really awesome. That to me is the sweet spot. I love having just a little bit of involvement sometimes in the making of my boots. I love being able to personalize, customize. I love being able to pick the leather, the build, the last, and all that. Dave does not disappoint by any stretch. So with that, I'll shut it down. Thanks so much for watching, guys. End of transmission.